Billy, you ready?
Just a minute, I didn't finish with him, I just gotta get.
I'm inquiring mine.
Thank you.
Everybody's phone off?
Do you have a sample of the pictures?
I'm sorry, can you just show me?
Yeah, 23.
Yours are up there. You ready, bro? I don't know.
No, just a minute, Judge, I'll just find out some things, like, want this to go a little smoother than it went at the beginning. Is there any kind of order?
Hello.
I don't know if it's you.
No, this is right now. Okay, this is right. Oh, never mind. I changed it. Well, once you take that thing, it's unfortunate. Or tell the family that's
Okay, I think we're ready. Just like, all right, so jump in.
Okay, let's go, Danny.
If you could key that up, we can start it with that. I'm gonna start with
You want to start with that? Okay.
1 minute.
Okay. We're going to start with that? and then
Yeah.
presentation? Okay.
what I want to do now is go to the video that we watched earlier, kind of draw your attention to a couple of things. And for the record, we're at, is it 043, correct?
044, right on the screen.
044, okay, because I think we're right after that sign began explaining it was 8060, but this is where the video begins. If you can start it, please. Just take a look at that. That should gather us a couple of questions for us. Record. This is your lights, those large stanchion lights, which we'll see in about 3 minutes, is lighting up this area, correct?
Yes.
And they're directed right here on this portion, correct?
Yes.
And you can just stop it there for a moment, pause it for a second, please. So when we're looking to the back here, the back part of the parking lot and where we know 8040 is, for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this camera is seeing what the naked eye sees. I mean, it's designed to be the equivalent of what the eye sees.
It's documenting, you might be able to see what is beyond that, to some degree, but it's picking up what is being, the camera itself will focus on the areas where it has its best ability to focus.
Like our eyes, same thing.
Well, yes, but I mean, the camera is focused down. It's not trying to focus all the way up into the other buildings.
So let it run for a while. And what you just see in the background, and that's a good representation of what you can see where there's no lights in the back of the parking lot, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Keep running it, please. Now, I want you to look at the crime scene tape. So for the folks on the jury, that crime scene tape is running, blocking off the entire 8060 building, correct?
Yes, sir.
And now the tape, it's at 148, 149. Can you just stop it there, pause it there for a second, please? So this is tape running from the building corner of 8060, I guess, north, across the grass, and now it's going to run, let it go. Well, actually, just leave it there for a second. In this portion here, what we're looking at when it's trained over here, again, I don't know what you say where the camera's pointed. We know out there is Lagos de Campos, but when you're looking to across the corner of the building, you can't see anything without any light back there. Correct. Right, we'll let it go again. And that's men, these are obviously police officers entering the crime scene, correct?
Yes.
You can just stop it now. So, again, this is Lagos de Campos, right?
Yes, sir.
And you see the crime scene tape that runs all the way across there, like we showed in that other picture?
Yes, sir.
So, does that refresh your memory now that there was actually crime scene tape all the way across Lagos de Campos?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you see all these people here in the, I guess, the Lagos de Campos are all police officers, correct?
Yes, sir.
So clearly, nobody is in that vicinity unless you're law enforcement.
Presumably, yes, sir.
And you would expect, would you not, that those officers, strike that. Were you ever told, or did you ever hear that there was some suspicion that a shooter may have shot a firearm somewhere on Lagos de Campos here, maybe towards a car, that there was a car traveling on Lagos de Campos and maybe a shooter was out there shooting a firearm?
No, sir.
That was never told to you by any detective.
No, sir.
Now, you're the head of the crime scene, correct?
I was the lead in this crime scene, yes.
Yes, right. So you would expect that, number one, you know what you're doing, right? How long have you been doing this? Forever.
Forever. Approximately 17 years at this point.
At this point, you've been doing 7. But you've been a deputy. How long?
I was road patrol for 6 years, and then I was in crime scene at this point, I think 17.
Okay. Been a deputy a long time. they know you know what you're doing, so when you're out there, you're looking for all the evidence you can find, correct?
Yes, sir.
But again, you realize, and in this case, certainly, there's deputies, numerous deputies talking to numerous witnesses, gathering information all simultaneously, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you would expect that if there was something important, like maybe some firearm evidence, that they would also come to you and say, you know, Detective Gaddis, you may want to look here or there for something, if there's something about it.
Yes, sir.
And certainly you were told some things to look for, correct?
Yes, sir. Specific to what you asked, I don't recall there being any reference to a firearm being discharged out in that area.
So number one, you don't think anyone ever told you there was any firearm evidence, potential firearm evidence in Lagos de Campos, correct?
To the best of my recollection, that's correct, sir.
Okay. But again, assuming that was just an oversight or whatever it may be, if there was firearm evidence there, where those officers are standing and those cars are parked, you would expect that those gentlemen would observe that. If there's casings on the ground in that vicinity, if officers are out there and they know it's a shooting scene, and they see a casing, they would know to...
Objection, speculation.
Only if he knows.
If you know, I mean, again, trained officers in a crime scene, a shooting, certainly a shooting of a police officer, see casings on the pavement, one would expect a trained officer to make note of that, like the original ones did, and put a car down, correct?
Yes, but this specific area is further out of the area where the other casings have been seen, so they may not have necessarily, I mean, you're talking, you know, I mean, the closest casing is forward of this patrol car.
We'll get to that later. You understand that. I'm just saying, it's not like, I mean, every officer knows what a casing looks like, right? You're all trained in firearms, right?
Yes, sir, but you're talking about a spent shell casing that's pretty small, it's on the ground. As we've been over and over, it's not well lit out there, so they're not all scavenging the ground looking for the evidence that far out.
Right, and I wasn't trying to suggest that they're out there scouring the ground, but I'm saying if you're standing around talking to other officers, you see a casing.
Then you would certainly bring that up to our attention, yes,
All
sir.
right. Now, what we're talking about there, just to close up this gap about, you know, the darkness or lightness, this is now illuminated by every one of those police cars out there on Lagos de Campos has their headlights on and they're lighting up. Like every car you see parked has the lights on to light up the vicinity so you can see what you're looking at, right?
Well, not specifically for the purpose of the video, that's just the way the lighting was, whether it's from the vehicles, the street lighting or whatever, in that particular areas, that's the way it was seen.
I'm saying the video shows, you can get it going again, please. There's police cars all with their lights on, flashers on, headlights on, all on Lagos de Campos there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's lighting up that roadway, correct?
Yes, sir.
We'll go to 354. What I'd like to do now is just show, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, just a view of that light stanchion. And this wasn't you, this was Detective Caperton on top of the...
He was the one that was assigned to do the video, yes, sir.
So can you just stop it there? And is that's the mobile truck, and those are the lights that are on top of it illuminating the parking lot?
Yes, sir.
You don't know the power of those, correct?
I'm sorry, I don't.
But they can be rotated, and that's what they've done here, is rotated them to shine on the Toyota, the two patrol cars.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll go to 18 minutes, please. So the next thing I want to do is take a look at what you said is the casing that is the furthest out from the scene. According, if you can stop that there for the moment. 23, you know what 23 is, right?
Yes, sir. It says spin showcasing.
Right. Can we switch screens to to this for a moment?
Yes.
So for the folks on the jury, that's 23 right there?
Yes.
If you point it on the screen so they can see it.
This would be number 23 here,
Right,
and this was number 5.
right.
This is the rear of Deputy Carvacci's vehicle. This is Deputy Tephford's vehicle, and this here is the entrance into Lagos de Campos, into the complex of Lagos de Campos.
Right, so again, if we could just show this photograph here. That showed, and 23 is just to the right of that speed bump, correct?
Yes. So 23 would be right here. No, I'm sorry. It's on the, this is a speed hump. So 23 is on the right-hand side of it, and number 5 is on the left-hand side.
Right, and all the other casings circle around the two patrol cars.
Well, there's also, these are show casings back here. as well.
Right. They go from the front right of Brian Tephford's car, around the passenger side, all the way past Carvacci's car, over here some, and then travel up this street, the last one being 23. Right, and then for the folks on the jury, for the record, that was States 131. This is again States 14. That speed bump, it's upside down. No, that's right, that's fine. Here.
So this
Yeah, that's
speed bump would be right here.
Right. So the casings, here, let me just have it for a moment. So the casings then travel around the two patrol cars like this, and the last one is here.
Yes, sir.
Certainly no casing that you're aware of anywhere further out on this driveway, correct, inside this crime scene? No casings there,
None that I was made aware of, none that I collected.
and none out here on Lot of the Commons.
Correct.
Can you go to 3528, please? You can go, start going forward there. I don't know how far back you are. Yeah, a little further. A little forward. 3520, if you could. That's fine. You just pause it there for a moment. Thank you. Now, this is Deputy Tephford's car, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
Let's just leave it like that. I'll show these to the jury all the way. These photographs that we showed the jurors earlier, V2 number 2 and V2, I don't know where V2 1 is right now, but This is V2 number 2 is one of the projectiles in the driver's door, in that door, correct?
Yes, sir. I believe it was on the driver's side. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, I don't want you to guess it.
You don't have those others. You don't have any exhibits, do you?
Well, actually, so looking at States 160, that's a picture of the entry on the driver's door,
Yes, sir, just below the side view mirror.
and States 163 is the one by the door handle, correct?
I think that's the passenger side, sir.
Sorry. No, you're right, that's V2 number 7. Okay, well, enough said about it. Let me, so this entry on the driver's door that's in States 160, the close-up of the one strike by the projectile, there's a second one on the door, the same door, correct, by the handle.
Yes.
For whatever reason, I can't find that photograph right now. But the way this is how Deputy Tephford's car was when it was found, correct?
That's the way it was when I found it.
Exactly. So, in other words, those shots enter the door while the door is open, correct? So those shots are striking the door in this fashion from in front of the door, correct?
Yeah.
Right?
I wasn't there, I don't know what position the door was in. I mean,
Assuming the door was in that position when it was struck, those entries, as we see, are entering the door. Stage 160.
Yes.
Right, okay. But again, there's no bullet holes in Deputy Tephford's car in front of the door on the driver's side front fender, correct?
But only on the hood. Just in front of the
The
driver's.
entry in the hood. I'm talking about the driver's side of the car.
Correct.
Front fender, rear passenger door on the driver's side, rear fender of Deputy. Can you allow that video to go a little further? You examined this car, correct? And again, there were no bullet holes or marks on the driver's side of that car anywhere except the two in the door, correct?
I believe that is correct, sir, yes.
So again, if there's ever a shooter standing perpendicular to that car shooting Deputy Carbacci, there's no strike to that car anywhere except in the door as it's open, correct?
Yes.
say that you attempted to fingerprint all those casings, correct?
Yes, sir.
You can stop it. And you found no fingerprints on any of the casings, correct?
Correct.
That's not unusual, correct?
No, sir, it's
You
not.
fingerprinted casings numerous times,
Yes, sir.
and it's not unusual that you don't find fingerprints on casings.
Stent casings, that's correct, yes, sir.
Right. Okay, and then if we could, I'd like to go to 5420. Okay, this is the Toyota, correct? The Toyota that was the car that was stopped?
Yes, sir.
This is actually a 5413. Were you operating the video now, or it's still taking?
No, it's okay.
You can stop it there. So this passenger window is half down, correct?
Yes, sir.
You can see in the car, but certainly that window's open, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if you could just let that, well, you can go to 55, what was it? I think 55...
49.
5549. You can run it there, that's fine, that's fine. Well, you can stop it there, Paul. And the driver's window is down on the Toyota as well, correct?
Here's that way, yes, sir.
So both the driver's window and the passenger window are rolled down, correct?
Here's that way, yes, sir.
And could you just go back now to 520? You can stop there. This is a picture from the balcony, I guess, of 8060, correct?
Yes, sir.
And for the folks on the jury, these two marks there, those two cones are where the casings begin in terms of this trim around the car, correct?
There are two casings, yes.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
Actually, there's more than two there, correct? Or is that just two?
Can you point on the screen? Instead
I'm sorry, right.
Can't.
Well, no, I
It's a video.
can't. No, you see, I can't because it's a
Oh.
video plan. You know, this is what's on the screen, right? So maybe you could,
So, looking between the two vehicles in front of the patrol vehicle, there are two cones. Here's the-
Stand up.
can they stand up or?
Of course they can.
These two cones are points of reference for casings, which are to the rear of the, in between the two vehicles.
And do you know how far they are from the rear of the Toyota, how far those two cones are?
Several feet.
Several feet,
Yes, sir.
immediately behind the Toyota.
Between the two vehicles, yes.
Right.
Hang on a second. If you guys are having a problem seeing, you can certainly come up here and watch it.
Okay, thank you.
Just whatever, I don't want you to miss anything.
Did you ever measure the distance between the Toyota and the first patrol car?
I did not, it may have been in the sketch that one of the other detectives did.
They may have actually taken the dimensions.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you can- And then really, just lastly, you said you went around to 205, apartment 205, when you were doing that thing where you measured various distances. You can shut off the video now, thanks. And can I have the screen again? You know, the Elmo? Showing which marks at state 15. Can you just show the jury where you stood at 8025? For when the light, when you say, I'm going to ask you about when you were trying to see if you could see the lights from the parking.
So these balconies in this building, so 205 is in this building.
Okay.
This way.
All right, and for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know Mr. Satz covered that, but I don't know if he asked you, Was it daytime or nighttime when you did that? Nighttime.
Yes, sir.
So you went out in the dark of night and you can have a seat, I'm sorry. You had 2 patrol cars there, correct?
Yes, sir.
You had their lights on, overhead lights, the takedown lights, everything the way it was on those Deputy Tephford's vehicle, Deputy Carvacci's vehicle?
Yes, sir.
They had the lights flashing, correct?
Yes, sir.
And someone who was in apartment 205, according to you, or at least you couldn't see that there was any commotion going on over 8060 from apartment 205 in the evening time.
Could not see the lights from the light post, that's correct.
So you wouldn't have any idea just by looking out the window or on the balcony that there's anything going on.
Not visually, no, sir.
Thank you, nothing further. Detective, good afternoon.
Now, I want to just start for a minute. Some discussion was brought up earlier today about preserving the scene. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if we track your chronology, you get to the scene roughly an hour after this occurs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when you get there, the scene is already taped off. Correct? The immediate scene around the 2 police vehicles and the Toyota.
Yes, sir.
And you were asked if you knew how many people had been in and out of that crime scene prior to your arrival. Do you know, as you sit here today? Do you know, assuming there were other deputies and first responders there, let me ask you this. Aren't the first responders trained much like deputies when they arrive at a scene like this to be conscious of that?
Objection, respectively.
If you know. And when I'm talking about first responder, I'm talking about deputies as well as EMS people, if you know. Are they taught to be or trained to be?
I was asking 2 questions, a comment.
And just break them up, will you?
Let's start with the deputies. Our deputies, when they first respond to a scene like this, aren't they trained to be conscious to preserve the scene?
Most deputies aren't trained specifically to respond to 2 fellow officers that have been shot.
Or any crime scene, let's say that. When you respond to it, that would be a fair question. I'll take this unique situation out of the question. When they respond to a crime scene, aren't they trained to be conscious of evidence that may be laying around?
Sure, they're always trained to be conscious of it, but life will always trump the evidence, if you will. So as fire rescue responds and deputies respond, their initial response is to retrieve the injured people, in this case the 2 deputies. So are they immediately scouring around the area looking for casings? Absolutely not. Their first response would have been to get the 2 deputies out, to establish what they believe to be a crime scene, and then from that point is when they started being more conscious of the physical evidence that was left behind.
As well as should be.
Yes, sir.
Certainly like to proceed the preservation of the scene. Once the immediacy is settled, so to speak, as best it can, preservation of the scene then becomes of utmost importance to the deputies.
Agreed.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you talked about where a number of these casings were found. As you sit here today, do you know if any of those casings were kicked by anybody?
No.
What you have done is you just simply documented where they were found to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you get there, you arrive at 860 roughly an hour after this occurred, and how quickly do you have Detective Caperton start with the video?
It probably, in fairness, would have been 30 or 40 minutes after I got there, because he's on the mobile lab, and it had to have come from here in the courthouse where it's kept. So I would say probably at least 30 minutes after I arrived. So safely, I would think probably maybe 1 a.m.
And that's taking into consideration the travel time of the mobile lab to get there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Detective Caperton, his travel time as well.
Yes, sir.
Is it a fair statement to say that the video, the crime scene video, is one of the first things that you want to start getting up and running to document the scene as best you can?
Typically, ideally, we would like to do stills and video as close to the same time. In this case, I did start still photographs before he arrived.
Okay. And so you chose to do the photographs first and then the video?
Yes,
As
sir.
many photographs as you could?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you go to the crime scene video just for a second? And can you go to 213?
Okay, you can stop it right there. You were just asked a couple questions about that particular frame of this video. Let me ask you, Detective Gaddis, at the time that this was occurring, do you know if Christy Brand had been interviewed by any of the deputies?
I can't even tell you who Christy Brand is, as I said, I'm sorry.
So even if she had been interviewed, any of that information hadn't trickled down to you, who was the lead crime scene guy at the time,
No, sir.
correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as you sit here today, do you know if at the time that this was occurring, whether she was interviewed by anyone?
I don't know who she is, so I don't know.
And even if she was, you were not given that information.
Clearly.
Now, I want to switch back over. I'm going to show you the state's 153 in evidence. Recognize that photograph?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a photograph that you had taken, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, obviously, it appears to be light in the background, so this would be early morning hours of the next day, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you look at, this is Deputy Tephford's vehicle in the front, you can just see it would be the left headlight of Deputy Carvacci's on the side of the car in that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, it appears that the overhead lights on Deputy Tephford's vehicle, at least from this photograph, are not flashing. Can you tell, or do you remember when you took this photograph if the lights were flashing at the time?
I don't remember.
Did there come a point in time when photographs were taken that the scene had changed somewhat?
Objection as to what he's
And
talking
what I'm
about.
talking about, and just to be clear, what I'm talking about is, were there photographs that at some point got taken where those overhead lights on Deputy Tephford's vehicle may not have been on?
It's possible, I don't remember at what point we turned the lights off.
But that did happen at some point? You turned the lights off of his vehicle?
Yes, at some point we turned the lights off. I don't remember if it was before we were leaving the scene or as we were leaving the scene. I don't remember.
Go back to the video, go to 5:20. I'd like to go back to the crime scene video, if you could queue up at 5 minutes, 20 seconds, and let it run. You can separate them. Detective Gaddis, what we are just looking at now, that would be how Deputy Tephford's vehicle looked in its most original state to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it had the overhead lights flashing as we saw.
Yes, sir.
The headlights were on, pointed in the direction of the Toyota.
Yes, sir.
And the spotlight on the open driver door is pointing directly at the Toyota, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you, do you know if that's something that these deputies are trained to do when they make a routine traffic stop like this? If they have that spotlight being flashed in a manner that they can view the car that's been pulled over?
Yes,
It is.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's the way you saw it when you first got there.
That's the way I found the vehicle, yes, sir.
Now, it was straight. Now, in fairness, that you had seen they'd been talk about the mobile crime lab van that was parked, would have been off in this direction, correct?
Yes, sir.
With the lights on at that point,
Yes, sir.
right? Without those lights, what we would be seeing would exactly what we see from Deputy Tephford's vehicle, all of those lights flashing in the direction of the Toyota.
Yes.
Can you go to 5405, please? And ask you to stop right there. Now, this is, Detective Caperton is operating a video camera, correct? And he's having it, he's recording directly into the passenger compartment of the Toyota, correct?
Here's that way, yes, sir.
To catch, obviously, how this car appeared on the inside in its most original state, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, the glove box is open, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there are some papers on the driver's seat of Miss Spencer's vehicle, correct? If you can tell what those are.
To be honest, I'm not sure if that's on the seat or if that's in between the seat, because it appears as though this is where the seat is, but
I'm talking about the driver's seat. The white objects behind that green box, can you tell?
I wouldn't speculate to that, I'm sorry.
Okay. In any event, that car was taken from the scene roughly 9 a.m. in the morning,
Yes, sir.
right? And where was it taken?
I believe that one was taken to the local tow facility.
And a search warrant was executed on the Toyota.
I believe it was, yes.
Would be early morning hours of the 12th.
Yes, sir.
Did you take part in that?
No, sir.
No, that would be Detective Torah.
Yes, sir.
That vehicle was also fingerprinted.
I don't know what Detective Torah did with the vehicle, I'm sorry.
If you were not giving directions on what to do with the Toyota, that would be something Detective Torah.
Yeah, we all have assignments, or, as the lead, I would assign people to specific tasks, but I don't necessarily say, do A, B, C, D. It's part of our training and crime scene that you would know that your experience in the position to know what to do.
While we're talking about Ms. Spencer, while you were on the scene, didn't you also ask that Ms. Spencer be subjected to a gunshot residue test?
Yes,
Okay, and she was photographed also?
yes,
All of that was collected, photographs and the results of the gunshot residue kit that was collected by crime scene?
yes.
Can you go to 3845 for a moment? Please. Stop right there. Now, you talked about earlier, the purpose of the video was to document the condition of the evidence, correct?
The location of the evidence, yes.
Okay. Now, did you at any, and I believe you had testified that you didn't take any video to capture what the deputies may have seen at the time?
Correct.
Is that true? So when we look at this particular frame, were you in any way trying to capture what either of the deputies may have seen at the time of the traffic stop?
Well, again, I'm not operating the video, but as the video goes left to right, I think that, and from every position that you see the video, I don't think it's necessarily the perspective of the deputies. The deputies would have had a perspective from the roof of the mobile lab, but that's also here. So no, I don't believe any of these were specific to how the deputy saw it. It's just how Detective Caperton was trying to document the scene.
Just to document the evidence?
Yes, sir.
Can you go to 5540? You can let that play. Can you stop that right there for me? No. Detective Gaddis, we've seen throughout the crime scene, you mark the casings with those yellow cones. Correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what the jury's looking at right now would be TLG 22, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. TLG 22 is a cigarette butt.
Yes,
So what they're looking, that is not in any way, shape, or form any firearm evidence at all.
that's correct.
Now, those papers that are in the forefront of the screen, do you know what those are?
No, sir.
Do you not know? But that cigarette butt that's referenced in TLG 22, that was also collected.
Yes, sir.
You talked a little bit about your involvement on November the 18th. And if I understand your involvement on that day, you responded to apartment 205 on 2 occasions that day, correct?
One second, please.
And if you need your report to refresh record.
I see the one reference to go in there in the 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, right, if you look at pages 22 and 23 of your report,
Stay corrected, it's the next paragraph down. Yes, sir, I went back in the evening.
so you go to apartment 205, in the morning, and there's some forensic work on fingerprints taken, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you respond with, at 11 p.m. when you do the examination of the vehicle, the police vehicles in the area where the shooting actually took place, correct?
That's correct.
And you testified you could not see the flashing lights from the balcony of 205.
Correct.
Now, did you have other deputies that went to other areas around that building to see if lights could be seen?
The only other place that could be seen was at the end of the building, from the first floor. From the northwest corner of 8025, from the parking lot area, you would see.
Can you put, so I can use a picture? Thanks.
Showing states 15. So that you're aware it was.
From this area here in the parking lot, you could slightly see the flashing of the lights.
Just lastly, is that TLG, going back to TLG 22, the cigarette butt, why did you put a cone down on that?
During the initial stage of the investigation, we weren't sure, I wasn't sure who was driving the vehicle. So I saw that there was a cigarette butt next to the vehicle. It was collected in case at a later point we needed to run DNA on that cigarette butt.
At the gas thing?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
You sound to us prior to testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name.
My name is Ignacio Vilas Testifies.
Spell your first name.
Ignacio.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vila.
Good afternoon, sir.
What is your occupation?
I am a crime scene supervisor now for the District of Columbia Crime Scene Unit
And how long have you been doing that?
since February of 2016.
Prior to that, what was your occupation?
I was a deputy sheriff detective for the crime scene unit for the Broward Sheriff's Office, and then I retired from BSO.
How long were you working crime scene unit with the Broward Sheriff's Office?
From April 1999 through February 2016.
Mr. Vila, I'd like to call your attention to Saturday night, November 11, 2006. Remember that night?
Yes, sir.
Did you have an occasion to respond somewhere?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where did you respond to?
I went to Broward General Hospital.
And did you come in contact with any individuals at Broward General Hospital?
I did, sir.
Who did you come in contact with?
There were several deputies who, several of the deputies assisted me. In particular, I came into contact with a Deputy Carbachi and Deputy Tephford.
Okay, let me show you State's Exhibit marked 11 and 10. You know who this individual is?
Yes, sir, I did.
Who was that individual?
Deputy Tephford.
Okay, you came in contact with Deputy Tephford at the hospital approximately what time?
I arrived at Brown General Hospital at approximately 11:55 p.m. Saturday, November 11th of 2006.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit marked 38, which introduced evidence, and you recognize that.
I do, sir.
Who was that?
Deputy Carbachi.
Okay. And when you came in contact with Deputy Carbachi, did you take certain items into evidence that belonged?
I did, sir.
Okay. Let me show you State's Exhibit. Mark 44 that's been introduced into evidence. Did you, did you examine this exhibit?
I did, sir.
And what are the things that you examined?
In particular, this shirt had been cut for medical purpose. What I examined was the left breast pocket of this shirt in particular.
Okay, and what did you examine?
There are two possible projectile penetration sites in the left breast.
All right, could you show us where you are pointing to?
Yes, sir. May I stand up?
Yeah, Your Honor, may you step down?
Absolutely.
And with reference to one of Deputy Carbachi's pockets, did you take anything from one of those pockets?
I did.
And what did you take?
From that left breast shirt pocket that had been cut from the shirt, in particular, there was a notepad with a writing on that notepad.
Showing you State's Exhibit marked 2M for identification. Is that the notepad?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's what was written on the notepad?
Yes, sir.
And you took it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This time, Your Honor, I'd like to offer State's Exhibit 2M. M, like in Michael.
Marked as states 2M for identification, will come in as states 172.
We're showing you now States 172. Got the writing on the notepad.
Yes, sir.
Keith Smith, 12578.
That is correct, sir.
Keith. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit marked 45 in evidence. Yes. You recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize it?
This is the armor vest, the body armor vest that Deputy Carpacci was wearing on November 11th, 2006.
And did you take that into custody?
I did, sir.
And did you examine that vest?
I did, sir.
Let me show you State's exhibits. State's exhibit marked 7I, 7G, 2S, 2B, and 2T. I ask you, Mr. Vio, if you can identify that.
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. And did you take those photographs?
I did.
Okay. Do those photographs truly and accurately depict, and also State's Exhibit 21A? I'm sorry. You recognize that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Do these photographs truly and accurately depict Deputy Carpacci's vest when you examined it in November of 2006?
Yes, sir, I did.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to offer State Exhibit 21A, 7I,
Hang on a second. Oh, go ahead.
let me do it again,
No, I was in the wrong place. What else is?
7G, 2S, 2B like in Victor, and 2T like in Tom.
Everybody's good? All right, what's marked as 2S for identification, 2T will come in as 173, 174, 2B as in Victor will come in as 175. What's marked as 7G for identification will come in as 176. 7I for identification is 177, and 21A is 178.
Thank you, Your Honor. While the clerk is marking that, Mr. Vila, I want to show you State Exhibit Mark 2U for identification. Do you recognize that?
I do, sir.
What is that?
It's a picture of a projectile, commonly referred to as a bullet, that I retrieved from the front part of the body armor of Deputy Carpacci.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to offer 2U.
marked as 2U for identification. It'll come in as states 179.
Mr. Vila, I'm now showing you State Exhibit 173, 174, 175, 177, 178, and 176. If you would, by using our Elmo here, how you examined the vest and how it's constructed, what's the front, what's the back, what's in front of the other parts that are in the front.
Can I step down?
Yeah, and here, I'm going to get you, before you start talking, let me just tell you. This is State Exhibit marked 174.
So this states 174 is a picture of a blue covering of the body armor. There's a fabric covering of the body armor itself. This is for the front portion of it. There are two parts to it, the front and the rear, and they're Velcroed together. So while one would be wearing it, Velcros would keep it fastened. The picture you're looking at is the blue cover of the front portion. What I observed were two possible projectile penetration sites, and then a third here on the right side. The right and left sides kind of grip the waist. They go around to provide additional protection and adhesion to the back portion of the plate.
That's 174 now.
States 176 is that same blue covering, but now looking at it from the interior side. So when I said the right side, this is the right side as I pointed to it. There's what I believe to be a projectile penetration site, a bullet hole, and you can see blood around that site. And there appears to be a nick of some type on that left upper portion. Again, this is as I would be wearing it, looking interior, or looking from the inside portion of that cover. All this darkness is blood. States 178. This would be the right side of it, and dark blood. States 177. This is another layer.
Where does that fit?
This is, I believe, this is the rear.
Okay.
The rear portion, and all this is blood.
Okay. And the last one?
States 175. So I took my photographs, and these are just 3 or 4 of many I took. Then I started feeling around to see if I could find anything within it. And lo and behold, I felt something hard, somewhere in the center of this vest. So I used some type of cutting instrument to try to find what it was.
So that cutting, you did that?
Yes, sir, I did that cutting. And took photographs of it. And then the one picture that showed that bullet or projectile came from the interior portion of this vest. And states 173, this is the actual body armor inside that blue covering. So you have a blue cover that protects the main portion of the vest. And this would be the body armor itself. 1, 2, and up here on the right-hand side, on the right-hand side would be the third, what I believe to be balloons.
And did you recover the projectile?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you now State's Exhibit Mark 43 is introducing evidence. And you recognize this file and this plot.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And where did you get it from?
This is the pocket, I believe it's the left pants pocket of Deputy Kobachi.
Okay. And you took that into custody
I did, sir?
just as it exists?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And let me show you one other object. State's Exhibit. March 116.
Yes, sir, I can.
And what is that?
A pair of socks and a pair of boots from Deputy Kobachi.
Okay. And did you remove anything from the boot of Deputy Garbachi?
I did. From the right boot, I observed what appeared to be an entrance, a projectile entrance into the sole of the right boot. Upon further examination, I saw a projectile or a bullet in the sole of this boot, and I removed that projectile.
And did you preserve that projectile?
I did.
Okay, show you State's Exhibit Mark 12F for identification, and ask you if you can identify that.
Yes, sir, I can.
What is that?
You'll see a pair of, there's a pair of socks. One of the socks has a bullet hole, actually 2 bullet holes, has a through and through the left foot of Deputy Kobachi. There was also a bullet holes in the left boot of Deputy Kobachi.
This time I'd like to offer 12F.
It's marked as 12F for identification. Will come in State Exhibit 180.
Showing you State's Exhibit 180. Give it. Is this the sock you're talking about? Where are the holes?
Yes, sir. If I may step down, please. The left sock, one bullet hole, and the other. And Deputy Kobachi had an injury to his left toes.
Show you State's Exhibit marked 12H and 12I.
Yes, sir, I can.
What are they?
These are projectiles, bullets. My evidence item number IVV1 is from the vest. IVV2 is from that right boot of Deputy Kobachi.
All right, Your Honor, this time I'd like to offer 12H and 12I.
When he was talking about the letter designation, which specific exhibit was he referring to?
Okay. Number 1, IWW number 1.
No, sir, IVV.
IVV. He's right, looks like a W to me, but IVV is 12H, right?
Yes, sir.
And
IBB
2 is 12I.
All right, what's marked as 12, H and I for identification will come in the states 181 and 182.
One's in the booth and one's in the back.
Brandon, did this come with one or two pieces of evidence?
Two separate ones.
They're together, since it's two different objects, and they're going to be testimony about two different ones.
No problem, I just didn't know if it was one package.
Who's the inquiring mind?
When you first saw Deputy Tephford, what was his condition?
Grave. He was pronounced shortly past midnight, approximately 12:02 a.m. He was pronounced deceased.
I'd like to call your attention now to November 14, 2006. I want to show you state exhibits marked 21 in evidence and ask you if you can identify that.
Yes, sir, I can.
And did you examine the contents of that vehicle?
I did, sir.
And showing you states exhibit U and T for identification. Is that the same vehicle that you examined?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd like to offer states exhibits U and T for identification.
Marked as states T for identification and states U for identification, coming as 183 and 184 respectively.
I'm showing you states exhibit marked 20Z for identification. And ask you if you can identify that.
Yes, sir, I can.
What is that? Where did you find it?
States 202. One's a registration, it's composite, one's a registration for this Grand Marquis, Mercury Grand Marquis, and the other one is an insurance card for the same vehicle. The name of both items is Sonia Watts.
This was 20Z for...
Moving it in.
Yes.
Marked as 20Z for identification, it'll come in as 185.
This is State Exhibit 21. That's the Grand Marquis, correct?
Yes, sir.
Showing you State Exhibit 1EY for for identification.
Yes, sir, I can.
And what is that, and how can you identify it?
This is a palm slip in the name of Mr. Ingraham, and I retrieved it from the interior pocket of the driver's door.
And I'd like to offer the State Exhibit 20Y.
Marked as states 20Y for identification, will come in the states 186.
Not 185?
No, Z was 185.
Z came in first?
Yes.
Yeah, it was already offered and introduced.
Lastly, Mr. Vila, let me show you State Exhibit marked 7X. This, recognize this photograph?
Yes, sir.
That photograph accurately and truly depict the left pocket that you testified to.
Yes, sir. It's the cutout left breast pocket of Deputy Carbachi's BSO white uniform.
I'd like to offer 7X, Your Honor.
Marked as 7X for identification, will come in as 187.
And where it says left shirt pocket, that's your writing?
Yes, sir, it is.
So now it's State's Exhibit marked 187. So that photograph, show us where the holes were.
Where they stepped out? Have what I believe to be one bullet hole by the badge or star, and the other bullet hole by the flap of that breast pocket.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. This time around, I have no further questions.
Mr. Williams?
No questions?
Mr. Mundo?
Can we approach for a moment?
Why not?
Put this out and have a big explosion with the mistrial. So I proffered that this would be my part. Good afternoon.
Oh, yes, sir.
You know, the jury is here, I would have said I thought your specialty was DUIs, but that's a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
A very long time ago.
Oh, yes, sir.
But it was wonderful nonetheless. So you talked about going into the room and meeting with Deputy Carvacci, correct?
Yes, sir.
And during the time that you were looking at him and examining him and seizing or taking items of evidence that you thought were pertinent, you also had a conversation with him, correct?
Yes, sir.
And one of the things you did is you asked him if he could describe the shooter, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the description he gave you of the shooter was a black male with a goatee and a mustache wearing brown dickies, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you asked him how many shooters there were, and he said one, correct?
Can I refer to my report?
Sure.
So you're looking at the report of the devil.
Right now, I just asked, he's looking into it.
I don't have that information in my report, and I don't think I asked him how many
Okay.
shooters.
I'm going to rephrase this. When you asked him for a description of the shooter, he described one person, correct?
Yes, sir.
That was
And I would object being hearsay.
And I would object this hearsay and also beyond the scope of direct examination. And I have case law also with it. No, there's one.
Judge, you need any case law for that?
I'm listening now, Mr. Aronson wants to talk.
Can I object?
He didn't actually state a description. That was Mr. Moldoff that asked that question.
But there might be a description. It doesn't matter, I can still argue the point.
I'm not suggesting you can, I just wanted to make sure I understood exactly what you were doing.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't get what you said.
You asked,
I just asked him, didn't he describe you as a shooter? He said yes. And then I read what he described the shooter as, which is a black male, goatee, mustache, and
well,
brown.
that's pure hearsay. That can't come in. Description is not an exception to the hearsay rule.
Well, I understand it's not, but I'll let him argue. It's not offered, right, it's not being offered. I recognize it's hearsay, it's an exception to the hearsay.
No, it is not.
It can be.
No, it is not.
On what
Yes.
basis?
It's a prior inconsistent statement of what Carvacci said. I asked Carvacci, who was the shooter? He said, I didn't see the shooter. I can't describe the shooter. This gentleman talked to him minutes after the shooting and said, can you describe the shooter? And he said, yes. The prior inconsistent statement to what Carbaci testified to on the stand and subsequent to his statement that he gave to the police subsequent to this interview by Detective Carbaci. So it's not hearsay, it's an exception to the hearsay rule, but it's a prior inconsistent statement to Carbaci's testimony before the jury.
May I, Your Honor? Under section 90.801 hearsay definitions exceptions, number one, the following definitions apply under this chapter. A statement is an oral or written assertion. Well, this is a oral assertion. So I'm going to skip number two, which deals with nonverbal conduct. B, a declarant is a person who makes a statement. C, hearsay is a statement other than one made by the declarant while testifying at trial or hearing, offered in evidence to prove the truth of the matter asserted. So this is hearsay because it's being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. 2, a statement is not hearsay if the declarant testifies at trial or hearing and is subject to cross-examination concerning the statement and the statement is. Now the statement is what he said to Detective Vila. That would be the statement, not the subject. And the subject would be what he had said to other detectives or what Deputy Carbaci had said. But he has not been cross-examined whatsoever as to any statement that he made to Detective Vila, that meaning Deputy Carbaci. He was never asked any question whatsoever dealing with any statement that he made to Detective Vila. The only statements that he was cross-examined on were statements that he may have made to Detective Duggan. So this goes outside of what the exception would be. But if you read on, it says, is subject to cross-examination concerning the statement, and the statement is, and Mr. Moldoff is going down to C, which is one of identification of a person made after receiving the person. Well, the 4th DCA had a case called per year versus state that went up to the Florida Supreme Court. And the easiest part of getting to it before we read the whole opinion is if you look at the last paragraph of the case. Contrary to the 4th District's conclusion, we conclude that section 90.8012C did not authorize the admission of testimony of Detective Wardlow and Kartzenberg regarding Deese's out-of-court description statements. Accordingly, we answer the certified question in the negative. Quash the 4th District's in-bank decision and remand the 4th District to the 4th District for further proceedings not inconsistent with the opinion. And the basis of that is a description is not an identification, and it does not fall into paragraph C.
As I said before, anyone argued, description is not an exception. But Mr. Moldoff is contending, and I just want him to be able to respond to what you just indicated, not on the part whether or not it's hearsay.
I don't disagree with what you just said. That it's
You
hearsay.
do that. Case law is real set on that.
Wait.
You want to use it for purposes of impeachment.
Correct.
My comment that I was going to ask is not whether or not it's hearsay. I totally agree that it's not an exception to the hearsay rule. But for purposes of impeaching what Deputy Carbaci said or didn't say, whether or not that constitutes an exception.
No, because Deputy Carbaci never testified as to any conversation that he had with Detective Vila. So therefore, you can't impeach him on something he's never testified to.
No, wait a minute. He was asked, in front of this jury, can you describe the shooter? He said, no. I cannot describe the shooter. That's his sworn testimony to this jury. Okay. So I can impeach that with anything. And I can impeach it with his statement to Deputy Vila at the hospital moments after the shooting, when Deputy Vila asked him the same question, and he described them as what he just said. It's a prior inconsistent statement.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's not offered for the truth. It's just offered to show that he made an inconsistent statement at a time previous to today, and a time previous to his testimony here before the jury.
Judge, these are almost identical facts to the per year case that I gave you, almost identical. And the Supreme Court says it's not admissible, this is just hearsay. He was not challenged on that. Did you ever make a statement to somebody else? It's on all fours.
Not at all. I'm not asking him to say it because I think it's an exception to the hearsay rule. I agree that it's not an exception to the hearsay rule as a statement of identification or a statement of description. That is not admissible as hearsay. If it's a hearsay objection alone, he's right. But this case doesn't have a prior inconsistent statement in it at all. Per year has nothing to do with what we're doing here. It wasn't like the witness in that case said, I can't describe anybody, and then was asked, didn't you make a prior inconsistent statement? That's what we have here. And look at Earhart, I mean, I can impeach with anything that
He's
he
in
told.
Tallahassee, I think.
What?
Your Honor, if I may, he never gave Deputy Carbacci an opportunity.
I,
Go ahead. What do you mean?
He said, did you ever make a statement to Deputy Vila that's different? He never gave an opportunity to say yes or no.
I don't have to do that. I don't have
Oh,
to
you
have-
don't?
No.
Okay.
Actually, philosophy, when you read Earhart on this, is the reason why these types of statements are inherently inadmissible is because you need to know the circumstances, the reliability of the statements, and you have to get that from the person who made it. We didn't go through any of that with Deputy Carbacci. He was never confronted with it, so he could say, I don't know what I said, I was under the influence of drugs at the time, I have no recollection of ever saying those things. So he's being impeached, which is Deputy Carbacci, based upon a statement that he has not been confronted with. And therefore, and you have to confront somebody with something before you can impeach them. This is not admissible.
Definitely different. I asked him, can you give a description of the shooter? And I asked him about his statements to the police. We talked about he gave statements to the police. I said, did you ever describe the shooter? He said, no. Exactly what I did. I said, the only time you could identify him then is this white flash. That's what you said to the police. I read him that the only thing he described to the police was a white flash of a shirt. White flash of a shirt on his bike. That's the only description I give of the shooter. Right, I asked him, did you ever give any further description? No. So this is his impeachment. I gave him a chance to say, yeah.
You have to impeach with admissible evidence. This is not admissible.
It becomes inadmissible because it's a prior inconsistent statement.
Anybody going to let me participate?
Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, you have to parse this. There's no question the description doesn't come in. I think through this witness, what Mr. Moldoff is attempting to do cannot come in. He certainly has the opportunity to put Deputy Carbacci back on the stand and ask him and confront him, if that's what it comes to, but not that.
Well, wait, let me just understand your rule. You're saying I have to ask Carbacci to make a statement to this man first before I can impeach him?
You want to impeach him. You're not going to do it through this detective. You haven't given... You want to impeach him without even, A, refreshing his recollection with anything, B, asking him whether or not if there's anything that could refresh his recollection. But I'm telling you, the only way you're doing it is through Carbacci, if that.
Well, then that's... Okay, well that's what I'll do then, but this fellow, I'm going to fly this guy back to Washington.
Bring him back. Mr. Moldoff?
No question.
No question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Staff, another witness.
Yes, sir. Detective Rich Engles.
call to the evidence of truth?
I do.
Please state your name.
Richard Engles, E-N-G-E-L-S.
Your occupation, sir?
I am a crime scene investigator with the Lauderdale Police Department.
How long have you been with the Lauderdale Police Department?
1 year.
Prior to that, sir, what was your occupation?
I was a detective with the Broward Sheriff's Office Crime Scene Unit.
How long were you with the Broward Sheriff's Office?
32 years.
I'd like to call your attention to Sunday morning, November the 12th, 2006. Were you on duty at that occasion?
No, I was not.
Okay. Did there come a point when you did come on duty?
Yes, I was. That was at approximately 1:45 in the morning. I received a phone call.
All right. And did you respond to a certain location near hiatus road?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And where did you respond to?
The Shops at Sawgrass, which is 3419 Hiatus Road in Sunrise, Florida.
Okay. And when you arrived there, what did you observe?
I was directed to the rear of a shopping center where I observed a white Geo
Okay.
Metro vehicle.
Okay. And would you describe what condition that vehicle was in?
It was in poor condition, flat tires,
How many flat tires?
the two front tires.
Okay. What year was it?
It was a 1998 Geo Metro.
Okay. Had two flat tires, anything else?
Doors were open, one of the mirrors on the passenger side was broken off.
What else?
Had leaves and debris all over it. It was in poor condition.
Lights on, windshield wipers?
Not that I recall.
Okay. You want to check your report?
My report doesn't have if the lights were on or not, sir.
All right. So when you see the vehicle, what did you do?
I photographed the vehicle as I found it.
And once you photographed the vehicle, what did you do then?
After I photographed the vehicle, I shut the doors of the vehicle and sealed the doors with evidence tape.
Let me show you state specific. State's exhibits are 65, 64, 63, and 62. That's the geometry that you saw.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where exactly was it? Did you take any measurements?
No, I just photographed it in the parking lot.
Okay. And then what did you do?
After I sealed it with evidence tape, Westway Towing came for the vehicle, and I escorted the vehicle back to the Broward Sheriff's Office Crime Scene Unit to be put into our garage bay downstairs.
And then what did you do?
And then I went home.
Did there come a time when you went back to the area?
Yes, it was.
And what did you do?
I was requested by Detective Gaddis to photograph from the residence I was at to where the vehicle was found.
Okay. Let me show you now state's exhibits. For identification. 6Z. No, Z is in here. Z. 7A. 4H. 6W. 6V like in Victor. 6U. 20T. 20U. 20V like in Victor. 7C. 4T. 7B. 19Y. 20W. And 18N. And you recognize those photographs?
All of them except for this one, sir.
Did you look inside the vehicle?
Yes, I did.
Did you see what's reflected inside the vehicle?
Yes.
Does that accurately depict what's inside the vehicle?
Oh, yes, it does.
Okay, so that's a true and accurate description?
Yes, it is, sir.
It's in State's Exhibit 6W, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, at this time, Your Honor, I'd like to offer these exhibits. And these exhibits, they trace the path that you followed?
Yes.
Can we approach the one on this?
Sure. will come in as states 188. 4T will come in as 189.
Sorry, Your Honor, I wasn't back when you started. Could you start at the beginning again, please?
Yeah, I've only gotten 2 done.
I know, I missed it.
4H is 188. 4T is 189. 4U is 190. No? Oh, those are the Zs. 6s, never mind. 6U for identification is 190. 6V is 191. 6Z is 192. 7A, B, and C are 193, 4, and 5. 18N is 196. 19Y is 197. 20T, U, V, and W are 198 through 201.
While she's marking them, let me show you now statements of this are 21G, 21F, 21D, and 21Z. You recognize?
What was the last one?
21D like in boy. You recognize those?
Yes, those are the daylight photographs that I took.
Okay. And they were part of your investigation of the path that you traced, correct?
Yes.
This time, Your Honor, I'd like to offer 21B, 21G, 21F, and 21D. Okay? Okay.
What's marked as 21B for identification will come in as states 202. 21D is 203. 21F and G is 204 and 205 respectively.
Thank you, Your Honor. Executive Engles, did you take photographs of the 1998 Geo Metro?
Yes.
Okay. 198, who took this photograph?
I did.
You did?
Yes, sir.
Who's our genius? Could you make that so it's not as glary? Glary is a word. the object in the rear seat?
Yes,
Okay. Did you take a picture of that?
sure.
Okay, when I showed you the picture before, you said you didn't take that photograph?
I didn't take the photograph.
Who, someone else take the photograph?
Yes.
But you took this one, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you remember who took that photograph?
It was Detective Torok.
Okay. And with those photographs? I want to show you now State's exhibits marked 16E for identification. Do you recognize this form?
Yes, I do.
All right. And did you make this board?
Yes, I did.
And you did that with the objects that, the photographs that you just previously looked at?
Yes.
I'm going to show you now State's Exhibit marked 196. Is this an accurate and true photograph of 16E?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So, would you take the pointer, with the court's permission, step down, show us where the car is, and the path that you followed the car?
Fine with me. This is the parking lot.
No, what you want to do is, you want to,
Oh, on this? Okay. This is the residence where I went to. I followed the trail.
what is the address of that residence?
Excuse me, it's 11065 Northwest 38 Place in
Okay.
Sunrise, Florida. Okay, so we follow this road, which is 38 Place, westbound to the end, and then take a left, which is southbound along this fence.
Your head's in a way.
Oh, sorry, it's
It's okay.
hard to see the little picture.
All right.
It's not the way
The little, at the end of the fence is a yellow pole and 2 guardrails. And then 30 feet southeast of the pole, kind of mirror, then continued following the tracks to the parking lot where the Geo Metro was found back here.
Okay. And the photographs surrounding that area.
Yes.
Why don't you show us what significance they are? Why don't you start at the residence?
This is the residence, right here. This is a view of the 38th Place westbound.
Why don't you do this one with each photograph? With your help, sir, could you make them a little bit bigger so...
Let's start back off. Does everybody see that? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. This is the address, 11065. This is westbound on North 38th Place. This is the end of that road. This is the end of Northwest 38th Place. This is a photograph shooting southwest along a canal in between a wood fence and the canal. This is the bike path where I followed the tracks.
Where are the tracks?
Right here.
Okay.
This is continuation of the bike path up to a yellow pole and a guardrail. Over to the southeast of the pole. I located a mirror. This is a continuation of the bike path where the vehicle goes through the shrubs and ends up parked here. And this is side view showing the tracks leading through the shrubs. And once again, this is the mirror. And this is a photograph of the vehicle missing the mirror.
Let me show you now Stacy exhibit. Well, let's leave the mirror and that's good. Showing you Stacy exhibit. I guess it's 6Y,
It looks like 6Y.
doesn't it?
Yes.
You recognize that exhibit?
Yes, this is the mirror that I collected that day from the grass.
What was 6Y?
6Y will come in as 206.
And I'm going to introduce 16E. Is now which?
6Y or 16Y?
No, this is 16E, and that's 6Y.
6Y is 206 and 16E is 207.
Okay. Now, 206. That's the, let's see if I get you here's Stacy exhibit 194. You want me? So 194, that's the mirror reflected in the corner, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and I'm going to show you Stacy's exhibit 193. What does that depict?
That shows the mirror in the grass.
Okay. There's the mirror in the grass.
Yes, sir.
Now with reference to showing you Stacy's exhibit 59, which is a photograph of both the mirror and the glass. Recognize that?
Yes.
Okay. And just for everybody to see, it's 59, right?
Yes.
And what is that?
That's a photograph of the passenger mirror, or passenger mirror housing.
Is it the passenger mirror or the driver's mirror? You want to check your report?
I'm sorry, driver's mirror.
Okay, it's the driver's mirror, you sure?
Yes, it's in the photograph.
All right, and with Stacy exhibit marked 6Y, did you take that and compare it to the driver's side mirror reflected on 59?
Yes, I did.
And what was your conclusion?
It appeared that it was similar to the other mirror, and it appeared to fit in the housing.
All right, how did you try to fit it in the house?
Just try to replace the mirror because the mirror housing was pretty much intact, and it's got, I don't know, can I point to the picture?
Sure, please.
So while he's doing that, what you refer to as 6Y is already at its 206.
206.
If you see these three dots here, you've got 1, 2, and then there's another third one. That's the way I was able to now.
Did it fit in there?
Yes, it did.
All right, this time I have no further questions, so Detective Engles.
Mr. Williams.
I just want to get down some sequencing if I can, Detective. You got to the scene of that shopping center where the geometro was about 2:30 in the morning, is that correct?
2:35.
2:35. And then at 2:30, at sometime after 2:35, you took referring to composite photo exhibit 196, you took this photo, correct?
Yes.
And you took this photo, correct?
Yes.
And you took this photo, right?
Yes.
Is that those are taken in the dark, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then, at sometime around 3:35 a.m., you left the scene and followed the tow truck carrying the Geo Metro to the sheriff's office, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, I think you said you went home and slept.
Yes.
Okay. Now, all these other photos we've seen here on this composite, where you've got the apartment here, right?
Yes.
The roadway,
Yes.
and all where you follow the tracks all the way down to this area here, correct?
Yes.
Those were taken at a later time because they're obviously taken in daylight.
Yes, they were.
And they were taken 6 days later, correct?
Yes.
And is it 6 days later that you find the mirror as states 206?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the sequencing we've got for your processing of the car, pictures of the car and the tracks that were made.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Roll up.
Showing the photograph 193.
That picture is the one that you took, correct?
Yes.
And that garment in the back is what color?
Green?
That was green to you
Yeah.
in this photo?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing further.
Aronson. Or, how about Mr. Patanza?
No question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
That's enough? Well, that ends it. All right, being that we've run out of witnesses for the balance of the day, I'm going to be real broken. We are going to break. Please remember that tomorrow and Friday we are not in session, and you need to return next Tuesday, which I believe is the 27th of June. And again, next week, we will only be working Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then I'll go over the rest, but we're breaking for the week of the 4th, and then we'll be back the week after that. But you all know the admonitions and what you can and can't do. So with that, have a wonderful weekend, long time if you don't have to go to work. We'll see you next week.
Did you do it?